then I made this jumpsuit out of this corduroy, black corduroy embroidery fabric that I got from Haber & Fabric. And I know this was in my stash, and I couldn't wait to make it. No, this was not in my stash. This was from my fabric haul that I did. Yeah, so anyways, couldn't wait to make this jumper. As soon as I found this fabric, I knew what I wanted to make. And so it came together very nicely. I made several jumpers out of the same pattern. And where's the pattern? It's McCall's pattern, 7831. And I made that view, I believe. Well, view C, I guess. So since I had made several other ones, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with this one. I made a couple adjustments, I guess. This is the lining. I used this lining fabric, which was just a plain black polyester. And then I did bias tape with some red fabric that I got. And then I bought this lining fabric, which is like I lined the whole thing, the whole dress. And I got this fabric from Discount Fabric Outlet. That's what it looks like. Since I knew I would want to wear stockings or tights or leggings underneath this soft, like silky fabric, it keeps it from like sticking to my leggings. And I love it. This fabric, it's kind of thick. Well, it's really thick. And then with the embroidery, it was rough to sew through. Let me just say that. My machine kept jamming, like when the embroidery was just way too thick. And like I tried to do a zipper hole, and it was fine on one of them. It went okay. And then on the other side, it jammed again, and I wasn't able to finish it, and it wasn't looking right, and I wasn't gonna unpick the zipper. It was just like, I wasn't gonna do it. I was just over it. Even like sewing, because it's like several layers of this corduroy with the pockets. It was kind of rough to sew through some of these seams at times because it's so thick. So I got through that, and I just went ahead and went with these snaps. So I found some black snaps, and I just picked these up from Joann or wherever. And then I used these buttons that were in my stash. Felt those would go great with this. And I just put the snaps on and called it a day. The only thing is now is that I thought these snaps would be pretty good as far as keeping it together, and they are pretty good, but sometimes when I'm like reaching for something, they come apart. So, but it's okay. It's all good. I still love this. The next thing I made is this Maven pattern, which is the French Dart shift dress. And I made this several years ago. And I made it, I made the long sleeve, but I used a different pattern to make the sleeve because I didn't want this sleeve like that. I just wanted a plain sleeve. So that's what I did originally. And I wore it. I made it in this yellow paisley fabric that I still have, and I actually removed the neckline. Like after I put this collar in, like because I wasn't wearing it because I didn't really like the collar, I decided to take the collar off and just put like just the bias collar on there. So that's what I did with this one. I actually redid the whole thing. Like the first time, this was probably one of my first PDF patterns that I put together. And so when I look at it, when I looked back at how I put it together, it was not okay. it was really sloppily done. I don't even know why it was or how I even did it like that. So anyways, I reprinted everything, and because I've been looking for just a plain shift dress that I can just throw together really easily, and I wasn't really finding anything that I really liked that was simple. So I got the idea that I was going to redo this pattern, and so that's what I did. Redid, printed up everything, and then I lined it out. I lined out everything on my board and recut it, and I made it out of this fabric, which was in my stash. It's like a rust color. It has like really small thin lines in it. I got this fabric from Feels Fabric, I believe, a couple years ago, and I went with the cap sleeve in that view, and it has French darts in the front, and then it has darts in the back. So that's how it looks in the back. And like I said, I left the collar off. I just went with the plain bias collar. That was all good. I put it on. What size did I wear? What did I make this out of? I think I went with a size 14-16 in the hip, I want to say. Because I have a note on here to make a straight size 14. Obviously, I had plenty of room in the hips. But it was long. But the darts were way too long, I think. So I might either shorten the darts. I need to raise them too, I think. But maybe shortening them by a couple inches with shortening the bodice would work. And it's actually not like a separate bodice. It's a straight dress, but around the waist, I might need to shorten it. So anyways, since it was long, I ended up putting a piece of elastic in it. And I'm not really a fan of putting like elastic around my waist, like elastic going around my waist in my dresses. But this was actually cute, I thought. So I just ended up just stitching a piece of elastic when I finished, and realized it was too long. Instead of hemming it, because like I said, the darts in the back were just way too low, I just put that elastic in it. And it doesn't really look like the pattern per se, but I actually like it. So that's that. This fabric, not from my stash, but it was some fabric that I saw at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, I have to have it. So I made the Simplicity. What did I do with it? It's the Simplicity pattern 1080, I think. Anyways, yeah, so this is it. I made this in a size medium, I want to say. No, here it is. I made it in size small, medium. Small at the top, medium in the hips. Dang, how did I get grease all over it? Yeah, so there's that. I did a contrasting hem with bias tape. I did the pockets, and then I put some buttons from my stash here on it, just kind of make it my own. And then instead of putting the tie, I ended up going with this piece of elastic that I just encased it in the back. I just took a piece of material and sewed it, and then encased this piece of elastic in the back to make it snug around my waist. It's a little snug though, so I don't know if I could have left out the elastic, or maybe not pulled it so thick or so tight, but I still love it. Love this pattern. So, and it doesn't require that much. So now that I've kind of mastered this pattern, I also made the neckline smaller, because I know I was saying with the brown one that I made, that the back neckline is just way too low. So I made the back a little higher. So I'm gonna go through I have a lot of little small pieces of fabric in my stash that I want to go ahead and use up. So I'm really trying to use up my stash, the fabric in my stash. But like I said, I saw this fabric in Hobby Lobby whenever it was, and I was just like, I have to have it. So I just bought a couple yards, and it's cotton, so it was very inexpensive. The next thing I made was the Simplicity pattern, 8393, and I made the cardigan View A. I've made this cardigan several times for my aunt, and I know I was saying in one of my last videos that I wanted to make some cardigans for myself to, one, use up some of this fabric in my stash, and then two, just to have something to like throw on when I wear my short sleeve tunics or dresses. So I made it out of this orange fabric. I did notice that the sleeves seem kind of short, so they probably come maybe like higher than my wrist, which I'm okay with, but I'm thinking I might make a larger size. I can't remember what size I made out of it. Maybe a 14, I want to say, but I want like a loose fitting cardigan, like at least more loose than this one. But this fabric is from my stash. I got this fabric from Phil's Fabric a couple years ago, or last year, and so I used up a piece of it because this cardigan doesn't require that much fabric. So, and it comes together pretty nicely, and then it has like the slits and the pockets, so it's really nice to throw on, and it's just simple in the back. So, and next, oh wow, this is what I was looking for. You know, this is it. So anyway, I made this. Was this in my stash? I can't remember. But anyways, I made this in View A out of this cream fabric that I had, and I got the cream fabric from, I believe I got it from Phil's Fabric, and it's over there on my bed. I thought I brought it over, but I know I have a picture of it. So it was pretty simple. It wasn't my favorite style of tunic, maybe because it flares around the hips, and I guess I don't need that much flareage around my hips. This is one of my newer patterns. It's Simplicity 8907, and I wanted to make the pants, but I decided to go with the shorter skirt. So I made View D, but I went with the longer sleeves on View C. And I made a muslin out of this fabric, and I don't have a picture of it because it was really tight around my hips, and this is a thin fabric. This was the fabric, one of the fabrics from my stash video, and it's a green like chiffon fabric, and I used this green for the lining, which doesn't really work, or for the facing, the neck facing, and I also used some bias tape to kind of keep it down. It has buttons, has the pockets. The sleeves are really cute. It has that little detail on the sleeves. And I didn't do the pocket right. There's the pocket. If you can see, this is how I did the pocket. This is not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to encase a belt that I did make with this fabric, but it comes with a belt. The pattern comes with a belt, and I just sewed it on top. So that the pocket is supposed to just like, it actually is supposed to go higher than the seam for for the waistband encased, and I also did the lining out of this fabric for the pocket. So yeah, this is not supposed to be stitched like this, but when I was doing the reading the pattern, it wasn't really making sense. I didn't quite understand what it was saying until I had actually done it. And since this was just a muslin, I just was like, okay, whatever, it's a fail. But and then the next one that I did, which I did make another one, but I just wanted to show this since it was from my the first one, since it was from my stash, and show you what I did wrong. And then I don't even think the elastic, I didn't put the elastic in right either. Well, I kind of did, but I didn't close it up because I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna finish this, I'm not gonna wear it. So yeah, that's how the inside looks. And you insert the elastic inside the casing. But then I made another one. Since this one, the top is really roomy, so you can see from the pattern that the top, the bodice is kind of roomy. It's supposed to be very loose fitted. The whole jumpsuit is kind of loose fitted, but this ended up being tight. I made a size 14 first. And so my next make was size 14, 16 in the waist. Because I felt like since this did fit me, but it was just kind of tight, that if I go up a size, it'll be fine. Well, when I made it again, it's still tight in the waist or around my hips. So I need to go up another size. And then I was thinking I might even go down a size, because I know it's supposed to be loose fitted in the bodice, but I think I still could go down a size. And like I said, go up a size in the skirt part. So yeah, I'll have to get some pictures. I don't know if I have pictures of it. I haven't. Well, it's in the laundry, so I'll get some pictures to insert the white one. And I got the white fabric from Discount Fabric Outlet. It wasn't in my stash. No, it wasn't in my stash. It was new fabric that I bought. And this spring, summer, whenever it was that I bought it. And so yeah, it fits better. I haven't worn it out, but I have worn the white one around the house. So once I wash it and get some pictures, I'll insert them in this video. But yeah, like I said, I did do the pockets right. It all came together fine, but I still need to make some adjustments in the skirt piece and the top piece, I think. So yeah. The next one, I think this is the last one, was this Simplicity pattern 8551. And I made UB. I saw a girl on Pinterest that had made this in green and yellow plaid, and it was so cute. And she made it in that view, and I was like, okay, yes, I'm making that. Was so excited. And I had this fabric. This is gonna be like a wearable muslin. I bought this fabric from Joann, quilting cotton, and there it is. It didn't turn out like I wanted it to. The arms were too tight. The arms didn't go in right like it has. I had to ease in the arms, of course, but they still didn't come out right. It's still some puckering at the armholes, and I didn't even bother like going back and redoing them. I was just kind of like, whatever. But the placket went together really nicely, as well as the pleats. I like how that turned out. I also, the girl that that did the blog that I liked her version of, she said she didn't put the belt on. She didn't put the pockets in also. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna use the belt, but I wanted to do the shearing in the back to kind of bring it together a little snugger. I don't think that's the reason the arms are too tight. It's just didn't fit me right. It just didn't fit in my arms. And I think even if I took the shearing out, it would still be tight because the shearing is not that. It doesn't make something like super tight. It just makes it a little snug, if that makes sense. So, and I didn't really like the way it turned out in the back because it's like that, and then the elastic around the waist it just didn't really look right. Actually, it's not really elastic in the waist. It's elastic threading. Whenever I have a skirt that's gathered, instead of doing the thread and pulling it in to make the gathers, I like to just put in elastic threading in my bobbin to give it the gathers, and then I fit it into the bodice. So that's what I did. So it's not really elastic in the waist, but it just doesn't look right to me. I don't really like it. I don't. But I do like the fabric. And like recently I've been finding more yellow fabric that I like. Yellow is my favorite color, but I don't usually find a lot of fabric that I like. But yeah, these last two, like this one, I absolutely love. So I do want to buy some more of this so I can make some other stuff if I can find it. I don't know if I'll have to go back up to Frankenmuth because Frankenmuth is like a 2-hour drive. So I think that's it. Next, I want to make, I don't even know what I want to make next. I have so many things in my head. I do want to make Tim Smart shirts. But I get so caught up in making stuff for myself. So yeah, I have some plans, but they're very vague plans. So yeah, this video is long enough. Oh my gosh, an hour? All right, bye. I need some water. Something is always coming up missing. I don't understand.